So in the last video, I said that in the next video, which is this video, I'm going to teach you about predefined global functions. But then I realized after I finished recording that video that I want to show you about formatting time, because that's a perfect example of how you should format within your template. So when you're passing time around in your program, you should just pass that around as type time. But then when you take a time and you pass it to a template's going to receive this funky time, and you want to format it to be a certain way, to look a certain way. So I'm going to show you how to format time, and we'll learn a little bit about package time. And then, because everybody can use more time, right? And then we're going to take a look at pipelining and how to use pipelines and templates, because that's also something that's really cool and powerful, and a lot of people like it. So we'll take a look at pipelining. And then in the next video, I'll do predefined global functions. All right, so date formatting. So here I have main.go, and I'm passing in time.now. We're going to learn about time package in a second. So I pass in time.now, and that comes over to my template, and I'm going to show time.now without formatting, and I'm passing a function in with my func map to format that time. So let's look at that and see what it looks like. And when I run it, this is time without formatting. This is just type time, right? Type time in the Go programming language. It comes out like that. And here I've formatted it to be November 4th, 2016, which is when I'm recording this video. So if we look at that function, I created a function month, day, year, because I want this to be, the month, the day, and the year. I pass in from package time, type time, and then I do T, so here I have a value of type time, and I call format, the format method on a value of type time. You have the format method. We'll see this in a second. And I pass in this formatting string. And then I take this function here and I attach it to my func map, and then I pass that function in, and I'm able to use that. That's all review. So let's just take a second to learn about package time. Package time. So go doc time. Come here. And this is in the standard library, package time. Here's the index. There's type time, which doesn't tell you much. Unfiltered or unexported fields. Okay, this is good to read. So you can pause your video right now if you'd like to read that. 3, 2, 1. Moving on. and then so that's type time. You have now, it gives you a time. And when you get a value of type time, right? So this, when you run, from package time now, like, let me just go here, go Lang playground, and do time.now, right? Format it to bring in the import of package time, run it, there's the time. I could also do it like this. You can just assign it to a variable, format, and then print that out, and I'll get the same result. But I did it this way because I want you to see from package time, right? I'm calling this function, and it gives me a value of type time, which I've assigned to T. So that is from here, right? When you call now, it gives you a value of type time. I now have all of these methods available to me. One, because these are the receivers right there. One of the methods is format. That takes in a layout string and returns a string. Well, what are the layout strings? We get insights into layout strings under constants. So here are a bunch of constants that we could use. These are all layout strings. They're different time standards. We could use kitchen as the layout string in format, right? So we could just put kitchen right here, time.kitchen. From package time, I want the constant kitchen, and it'll give me kitchen time. So I could do T, and then I could do T formatted : T, which is a value of type time, and it has the method format, and it takes a formatting string, and I could do from package time, I want the constant kitchen, which is a string, and then format print line, the formatted time, and run it, and there's kitchen time. 11 p.m., it's not 11 p.m., nor is it 2009. So that's kind of an interesting deal. And we'll explore that little anecdote at the end of the video. Why is the time on here always on the Golang playground? The time is November 10th, 2009, 11 p.m. We'll explore why that is at the end of the video. Just kind of a cool little Go trivia. All right, so those are all the constant strings I could use, and if I read a little bit more about formatting time, right, I see here that there's this really cool thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is January 2nd, 3 p.m., 4 minutes, 5 seconds, 2006, 7. So if I use these numbers, I'm signaling, hey, or when I use that date and those times, I'm signaling this is how I want that part formatted. Kind of interesting, but kind of cool. Let me show you what it looks like. So now if I wanted to format this, right, I want the month there, then I want the day, and then I want the year. So remember, it's this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I want the month, I'm using 01. If I want where I want the month, I put 01. Where I want the date, I put 02. Where I want the year, I put 06. And then when I run this, right, November 10th, 2009. Pretty sweet. What if I wanted the day first? Like maybe they do that in Europe, I think. I have not been to Europe enough, apparently. Somebody needs to tell my boss. And so now it's the day is first, and then the month, and then the year. Sent out to Europe. He doesn't know if that's the way they do the date there. So that's how I do formatting of time. Kind of cool. So that's a little bit about time and formatting. Next thing I want to show you is pipelining. And so with pipelining, we could take the output of one function, right? And so here's like the output of whatever, my data, and I can say pass that into this function, and the output of this, pass it into that. And I could just keep doing that and pipelining between functions. And so I'm passing in 3. And my different functions are, you know, I don't know why I called them F. I guess because float. Float double, float square root. That's why I did it, right? And double doubles it, so it just adds it up. And square squares it, so it squares the number. And square root gets the square root and returns that. And double, square root. And so when I have that over here, right, I could print out just the value. This is the value that got passed in. And then I could, you know, double it, and then I could double it, and I could square it, and then I could double it, square it, and square root it. And so let's run that just so we could see it. And that's pipelining. I'm pipelining the output of one thing to, oh, that's not the one I wanted, to the next thing. So 3 went in, I doubled it, it became 6, and then I squared 6, and that became 36. And then I square rooted 36, and that became 6, right? So that actually kind of maps. There's 3 came in, and 3 got doubled, and it became 6. And then, you know, 3 got doubled, became 6, and then squared 6 became 36. The output of this became the input of that. And then I took 36, the output of this, passed into that, and took the square root, and that brought me back to 6. So that's kind of cool. All right, so that's pipelining. Very nice. And the last pipeline example is just pipelining the date. Right, so the date comes in, and then I pass that into this function. So you could also do it that way. Though when there's just one, I think it's just easier to do it like this function and that argument, run it, okay, instead of the pipelining. Okay, so that's formatting dates and pipelining. And then here's the little anecdote. So you can stop watching the video if you don't want Golang anecdotes. And dollars to donuts, you're not stopping, right? Because anecdotes are always interesting. So why is the date always this on the Golang playground? If you go through a tour of Go, which if you haven't done it, you should totally do it. It says here, determining the significance of this date is an exercise for the reader. 2009, time begins then. That's when time begins, 2009. Well, when did time begin for you? Is when you were born, right? When did time begin for the Go programming language? Is when it was born, is when it came out into the world. So this is actually the time and the date when Go was announced, was released. And you can see this here on November 10th, 2009, hey ho, let's go. Which awesome, I think that's a reference to the Ramones. I think it's the Ramones, hey ho, let's go lyrics. The Ramones, cool. Hey ho, let's go, sweet. But that's when Go is released, and you could also see on YouTube, November 10th, 2009. November 10th, 2009, that's when they put these videos up to YouTube, the Go Programming Language promo, and the Go Programming Language, a Rob Pike talk that was given, you know, I guess, like, what, not long before, 11 days before, 12 days before. And so that's when Go is released. That's kind of cool. All right, so that's a little bit about formatting time and package time and using pipelines with your functions.